Okay, go ahead. Wait 10 seconds.
Is it okay?
Allô? Vous m'entendez?
Allô? Oui.
Hello?
Hello, Mrs.
Oui, on vous entend parfaitement.
Hello?
Hello,
Hello?
Mrs. Niane. Hello, yes, hear you. Hello.
I can't hear you.
We hear you.
Hello?
Is it okay for you, Mrs. Niane?
Yes, now I can hear you, yes. Can you
Okay,
hear
great.
me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. The line is not very good.
Thank you very much. I'm so grateful. And now you have a big agenda, but you are there. Thank you so much.
Yeah, because I just
Yeah.
arrived in Paris and I have a very tight schedule.
Yeah, I know. But thank you so much.
No, pleasure to join you at this conference. I'm very supportive to women empowerment, so I'll do my best.
And so after having served her country, she continues to participate in her own way as an international consultant in the emergencies of a prosperous Africa, underway in various projects with African states. So his main areas of expertise is public and private partnership and private sector development. In addition, she is member of the board of directors of Atos, which is today one of biggest player in IT services companies worldwide. With a profile that is distinguished both by her dual scientific and managerial training, by her mixed national and international public and private experience, and by her master of international standards of development partners, Mrs. Niane successfully carried out the various missions that she required have been delegated. From 2000 and 2008 and 12, yeah, she headed IREX. IREX is a national agency for the promotion of investment in aid works of Senegal. Attached to the presidential of the Republic in the government agencies. And from the end of 27, she was community appointed minister consular, citing on the Council of Ministers. Since 2017, she has been a member of the board of directors of Envol Immobilier Senegal, a company specializing in the finance and construction of real estate in Africa. This is the great woman we have today on our conference. Thank you for your presence and accepting today. Thank you, Mrs. Niane.
Thank you very much, Yande. Nice to see you and good to know you.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
I'm sure you are a very brilliant woman, as you are a yearly member.
Yeah.
A program that I know is very, very selective.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of yearly fellows which are very competent and brilliant. And I'm sure you will form a group of very dynamic women in Yali.
Yeah. Really, thanks. And so, can you give our Pakio? Can you just share with him a brief storytelling for you and who you are and what do you do for women leadership and women empowerment?
Okay, and you have just summarized my experience, my training and my work experience. So I will not be too long on it. As you see, I've been trained in science and management in very high universities after my baccalaureate in France and in England. And I have very large and diversified work experience. I will focus on my work experience because I start as an engineer, as a food technology engineer in several factories in Senegal. That was my very first experience. And in that experience, for the first time, I met problems and constraints of women in factories, in companies that are technology and industrial, with a lot of workers who are not used to be managed by a young woman. That was my first experience, and after a few months and maybe only after a year, I could really convince them that I was competent and that I could manage them. And that also strengthens my fighting spirit, because I had to fight with blue-collar workers. Are we still online?
Yeah.
I have to fight, I can say, with blue-collar workers who was telling me, you know, I have four women in my house, so you are not going to be my chief here. I will not receive orders from you. So that strengthened my fighting spirit, as I said. And after that, I joined the government as a civil servant, because I wanted to learn how the public sector works. Because at that time, the public policies have a strong impact on the performance of private companies. I did not understand why the regulation, the laws had so much impact on our competitiveness, on our profitability. So I wanted to learn, and I joined the public sector, and I lost three-fourths of my salary. Like I was just having a quarter of my salary that I have previously as an engineer in the private sector. And nobody understood that at that moment. People was telling me that I was really crazy. But that also brings me a lot in terms of experience dealing with very high level government members, dealing with civil servants, and understanding the work environment, and also the mentality and the culture of the public sector in Senegal. And after that, I left to do an MBA, because also I knew that I was still in a learning curve, in a learning experience. That will be very interesting in our discussion, because for me, for a long time, I was on a phase of learning because I wanted to get the maximum. I wanted to absorb and understand the maximum because I had the ambition to be a leader. And I know a leader must have the most complete profile as possible. So I went to England because I wanted also to be trained in an English-speaking environment, also with new standards of teaching, new standards of learning. So I went to do this MBA, which was also a very, very rich experience for me. And when I came back, like a year after, I had a very big promotion with the World Bank in Senegal. I left, I went back to England to do a PhD. And after 1 year, I was called by President Wade who wanted to launch IREX, and he wanted me to be the CEO. So I have to come back. After hesitating a lot, I finally decided to come back because that was a chance for me to experience all what I have accumulated in terms of training, in terms of work experience, in terms of business environment. And I really wanted to implement it at the highest level in Senegal. And especially I had the chance to be able to create IREX from scratch. So I could implement the standards I wanted with the team I wanted. So that was also one of the key success factors of that experience. So that's the way how I can summarize the experience I have. And I continue after IREX, of course, at the African Development Bank. That was also another very rich experience in an international organization. And finally, I retired, semi-retired, and come back to Senegal and started a new experience in the purely private sector as an investor. Yeah.
Great. It's very good. Then, like the first question that's come to my mind is, how did you do? How did you do that? You know, what has been your leitmotif for arriving at this leadership stage? Since the social culture constraint which limited the Black woman, how did you do it?
Okay, for me, it was so natural because I had the ambition to succeed. I always have the ambition to succeed. For me, failure or doing things à moitié, as we say in French, was not an option for me. Never. I always wanted to succeed anything I was doing. In school, primary school, secondary school, university, when I was working. So my leitmotif was being the best, always being the best, trying to be the best, working hard to be the best.
Yeah.
Because you cannot be a leader if you cannot be an example, if you cannot inspire your followers, your people. So I want to be the best by giving example. And for that, I have to work hard for that, to work very hard, anytime. And that was not easy, as we said, in our social and cultural environment. Because I can remember, even when I was in high school, doing the mathematics series, now it's series S. We were very few. We were very few when I was doing my baccalaureate. We were like 10 or 11 students in the class doing S. when there were hundreds and hundreds of fellows doing the baccalaureate R or D.
Yeah.
And I had friends, male friends or brothers and other relationships who was always telling me, why are you doing this? Why are you doing Series S? This is not for beautiful girls.
Yeah.
I could remember that. If you are a beautiful girl, you should not do S. I said, why? I could not understand that. And they were always trying to tell me that I was doing a bad choice. That you will never get married if you are doing too serious studies. You will never. The whole environment, except my family. And this is very important. I think the family is the support of the family is extremely important for young girls already, because things start at the very early stage. If the family and the environment do not encourage girls to succeed and not trying to make them understand that their success is linked to a future husband, they will not succeed. So that is very important. So I think my family was my first support, and they was telling me the contrary, the opposite of what the general environment was telling me. So I was hearing in my house a different story. So that really strengthened me and giving me the strength yet to continue on the way I have children. I think this is very important. Of course, this environment also continue to block the women. As I told you, when my first working experience, they did not accept, the workers did not accept. I have to fight with them. I have to fight and to prove. I have to prove every single day that I'm competent. And this even in France, because I've started in France, also in a food technology company, and also the workers were thinking the same. I was a female and I was Black. So, and they was asking me, are you sure you are an engineer? So, and I've been given the most difficult task. So they were testing me to see whether I was capable or not. So you have always to struggle. You have always to prove that you are competent as a woman. But I think this is a very good motivation also, because when the task is difficult, that improve your motivation. Improve your motivation. And finally, I think nowadays, even all these constraints exist, I think women have nothing to prove anymore. At school, at universities, in terms of ranking, they have nothing to prove. They are always above the boys and the other students. The problem comes in the working levels, in the working experience. What I have experienced as a manager, that when I hired women, after the recruitment process, they were always the best. They were always the best. But after 1 or 2 years, after they get married, problems starts. Because it's very difficult for them to integrate the different functions. Being a wife, being a mother, being a manager, that's very difficult in our environment, because they could not find the support, the very good support in their own family, and maybe to really succeed. And most of the time they were not favoring their career. They're favoring the family against the career. And at this stage, the men, the colleagues men would take over when there were positions in terms of progress in the companies. They were not fighting also. The women were not fighting to get bigger positions because they were scared of responsibility. Most of them were scared of responsibility. I had some managers who refused to be to get promoted because they were scared of responsibilities. So I think at this stage they need some coaching. They need coaching. I even was recruiting coaches for my managers, for my female managers, really to boost their careers. This is very important.
Yeah. Thanks. We have some intervention on the chat. They say, so proud of you. You are a great woman. You can read the chat or not?
Sorry?
We are coming in the chat. Can you read the chat?
No, I haven't received any.
Okay. She said, I'm so proud of you. You are a great woman leader and has done a lot for Senegal.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and also say, I really like ne pas faire les choses à moitié. I really like this. So thank you. My second question is, so you said, in your opinion, do you believe that the fight can prosper? In other words, can we dream of a world without sexism and prejudice, a world where women are looked at differently by virtue of their intellectuality and not their physical appearance? And what you say, your family said to you, now you can do S, it's for men, something like that. Do you think that is possible, world without sexism and prejudice for Black women?
Yes, I believe. I hope. And I think we have very good examples now, especially at the political level. When we saw Kamala Harris, who's vice president of the United States, we have of a female lady, female leaders, even presidents, female president, even in Africa. Really, I believe that these models, these examples will have a great impact in the world. We cannot go back anymore. We have to progress in this field. I hope that things will change, but women has to fight for that. We have to focus on the education of girls, and education, not only the training and the education that they are getting at school, but the education in the family. That is the most important, to really empower them at the very early stage of their life. And and also education of men. It's important that men change also. That they have to accept and to support women as equals. And I think that in Senegal, a lot of work has to be done still. Because the priority of women, priority of the society, how we assess success, how we assess success of a woman. Is it having a husband, having a big family, or having a balanced life and being economically independent. I think also the media has a role to play on this education of the society. Yeah. But I'm optimistic.
Yeah. Yeah, great. Thanks. We have a question on the chat box. She said, please, you said that you fought to make it to the top. How did you fight to succeed in your line of progress?
How did I fight?
Yeah.
Difficult, difficult question. I think I said that for me, the fight is to have the means to fight. And the means to fight is having the knowledge first. Having a good training, a good education, a good experience, and trying to be competent for the work you are doing. Having the right not diploma, but degrees.
Degrees, yeah.
Degrees, yes. And not only, for me, it was not just having a degree and said it's enough. For me, the training is a continuing process. Always learning, always trying to improve what you're doing. Because things are moving very fast. And you have to be updated, always updated.
Yeah.
For me, that was the first arm to fight, having the knowledge.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Very well. So my last question is, so as an experienced leader, what advice can you give to young people around the world?
The advice?
Yeah, for young people around the world. Yeah.
Is to be ambitious. To be ambitious for themselves. I don't know if you understand for what I mean. You have to be ambitious and trying to get always the best for yourself. And also to serve your people. Be good to serve your people, to serve your country, to contribute in your environment. To do that, you have to give something. You have to give something. You have to contribute. And if you want to contribute, you have to learn, and you have to have a competence, to have competencies. Yeah. So that is my advice, especially for women. Never,
especially for young girl, for young women.
Young girls, right? Never really rely on a husband or on a brother or on other people. Be ambitious for yourself. Yeah.
Right.
And no limit. Do not have any limit.
Oh yeah, thanks. Right. Someone else, right? Mrs. Niane, you are an awesome and inspires to everyone, men and women everywhere. Thank you for who you are and all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Niane. I know your schedule is very busy, but you accept to come and to accept our invitation. Thank you for that. We arrive at the end of the panels. It's like 20 minutes or 30 minutes for our panels. And I am so grateful. Thank you very, very much. You have something to do for your last word?
That was a pleasure for me, and always at your disposal to contribute, to coach young ladies, young women, entrepreneurs, or in the private sector or in the public sector. If they need some advice, I will always be available for you.
Thank you. Thank you
Good
very
luck,
much,
good
Mrs.
luck
Niane.
in your careers,
Thank you.
in your
Bye-bye.
life,
Thank you.
and stay
Thank
safe.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
And
you.
good stay in Paris. So thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.